How's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Boruto anime. We're going to be covering episode 187 in today's review. And in today's episode, we have Kashin Koji versus Konohamaru, and Boruto activating his Karma Seal for the first time. So, how was this episode, being an adaptation of Chapter 23? Well, before I get into the review, if you like this type of content and you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Anyways, let's get on that review, shall we? So the episode begins with Ao having been defeated, and Boruto's walking away, and that's when Kashin Koji summons his giant toad, which he uses to try and crush Ao and Boruto. But in his last moments, Ao actually manages to push Boruto out of the way, saving his life. Unfortunately for Ao, he gets crushed and he pretty much immediately dies. So Konohamaru is actually pressing Kashin Koji for questions about Kara. But Koji has his own agenda, and he seals all of them in a sealing jutsu. And he's basically going to burn each of them alive, because they know way too much. However, Konohamaru has his own sealing jutsu on him, so he repels Koji's sealing jutsu. So, this fight between Kashin Koji and Konohamaru was expanded in the anime. However, the result is the same, and Konohamaru is complete fodder compared to Kashin Koji, who just basically beats him left and right. Nothing Konohamaru does works on this guy. He tries using a Rasengan, and wow, turns out that Kashin Koji also knows a Rasengan. After the Rasengan clash, Koji's like, Konohamaru, you're a bit of a skilled jonin, but unfortunately you got a long way to go, because you're kind of no match for me. That's when Konohamaru realizes there was a toad on him that immediately bursts him into flames, and he starts burning him. So the true flames of trance, or whatever it's called in the anime, starts burning Konohamaru, and it's going to burn him until he's no more. And yeah, Konohamaru is just burning alive over here, and Boruto begs Koji to stop it and starts screaming. And that's when its Karma Seal finally activates for the first time. And Boruto not only cancels out the sealing jutsu by absorbing it, he absorbs the true flames. And Koji over here is just absolutely astonished and is like, Karma? And unfortunately for Boruto, it seems like using the Karma Seal for the first time was a little too much, but so he ends up passing out pretty much immediately after using it. Koji walks up to Boruto and is like, it seems like Momoshiki left something for you before he passed on, Uzumaki Boruto. And that's when Sarada jumps in to defend Boruto. And Koji decides to retreat because they showed him something interesting. So take this as a reward for showing me this interesting thing. Sarada keeps pressing Koji for answers as to what's going on with Boruto and the seal on his palm. But Mitsuki stops Sarada. You know, like, hey, I got questions too, but we're literally no match for this dude. And Koji even commends Mitsuki for doing that, and he seems to know that Mitsuki is Orochimaru's son, so interesting. Now, we actually get some anime original content after this point. So, basically, Konohamaru and Katasuki actually make a grave for Ao, and they put that screwdriver right by the grave. So, even though Konohamaru can't forgive Ao for killing Mujino, he went out as a shinobi, saving Boruto's life, so he decides to honor him here. So we get a small anime original scene with the Kara members. There's not really a whole lot that happens here. Amado is just looking at a computer screen and codes on it, and says it's either Boro or Koji is the traitor among the inners, and walks away to get more tea. And Delta comes in and takes a look at the computer while he's away. And there's also a scene where Code shows up, and it seems like he's showing a little bit more jealousy for Kawaki here. And that's pretty much all we get for the Kara anime original scenes in this episode. So back to Boruto and the others. So they're heading back to the village because some crazy events have been going on for like the past day. So they're abandoning their mission to find whatever was in that blimp and heading back to the village to kind of let them know what's going on. However, Mitsuki notices something off the path that they're on, so they go to investigate and they notice the puppets that they fought earlier. Well, I don't know if it's exactly the same puppets or just a different set of puppets, but nevertheless it's the puppets from the blimp. But they're practically destroyed. And they even note that, yeah, we could only do a dent in those puppets before, so whoever did this had to be really powerful. That's when Cha-Maru shows up and leads them over in a different direction, and that's when they stumble across Kawaki for the first time. So Boruto goes to investigate and notices that the boy has a Karma Seal just like him. And that's where the episode comes to an end. So, plot-wise, I thought this episode was great. Chapter 23 is one of my favorite Boruto chapters, so I knew I was going to enjoy this plot-wise. But I have to say I appreciate the anime once again expanding stuff. We got an expansion of Koji versus Konohamaru. We have the Kara original scenes. I like the fact that they made the grave for Ao. I was kind of hoping maybe they do something for Mujino as well, because they really haven't done anything for him yet. I don't know if they're going to hold a funeral for him back at the Leaf or not, or something later down the road, but who knows. I was hoping they'd actually do something for Regino as well, since he's also dead. But, you know, whatever. Now, I gotta say, animation-wise, this episode was kind of strange. From what I understand, this was an outsourced episode compared to last week's episode, which I think was, like, partially outsourced, and then Studio Pierrot actually worked on that episode as well. But for this episode, it was completely outsourced. Some of the animation was a bit weird. I didn't mind Koji versus Konohamaru, but, well, the Karma Seal activation sequence, yeah, that felt a bit choppy in my opinion. I felt like it was a bit too slow-paced in my opinion, and it didn't quite have the impact I was hoping it would have, because this is a pretty big moment in the series. This is the first time Boruto activates his Karma Seal, and it didn't quite hit the mark in my opinion. Also, Konohamaru was like on fire for a minute, and yet after Boruto absorbed the flames, he has like hardly any burn marks on him. Like, he was on fire for a minute, and you're telling me that he's not suffering from any second or third degree burns? Like, seriously, bro? I don't even think Victor lasted this long, and Victor was bodying Konohamaru in the car actuation arc. Huh. Kind of weird if you ask me. That being said, I will say I gotta give props to Boruto and Konohamaru's voice actors in this scene, because they both did a fantastic job, especially Boruto's, because I think that the voice acting here was spot on from what I was expecting to see, so kudos to them. Alrighty guys, that's all I got for this episode review. So overall, I felt like this episode, it wasn't as good as last week's episode, but it's definitely not the worst episode out there. It's probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10 episode, to be completely honest. Like, I feel like it could have been executed a little bit better, but it's definitely not like a terrible episode. I definitely enjoyed this episode. But anyways, what do you think, guys? Did you love this episode? Did you hate this episode? What are your thoughts? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you all later. You have a great day or night wherever you're at, and peace.